the first thing I'm going to do is I have my sketch down, but it's too dark. I don't want the pencil to show through. So I have the kneadable eraser. I just dab it. You can use any eraser, just lightly erase it. So you can still, you want to see still your outline enough that you can know where you're supposed to paint, but you don't want it too dark. It doesn't really matter if it shows through, but so just erase the line. Usually around the face, I'll leave it a little bit darker just to make sure I can still see where the eyes are meant to be and everything. And you can still erase extra if you need to while you're going. Okay, so normally I do my blacks first. I use this ink, but I know a lot of people probably don't have ink. And if you want to keep it to just a strict watercolor, we'll skip the ink for this one. So first, I always do my face. I like to see that it's working. I don't know. A lot of people, I think, do the face last, but I like to always do it first. So first thing is dip your brush in, so use either a pointed brush or a small brush. I don't really know. I just do what I like to do. So you can, basically I just use two brushes, a small one and a bigger one. So I do, for the first layer of the eyes, I do yellow. So get your area where you're going to paint wet, just damp with clean water. You don't want any color in there. And then I'm gonna do yellow. So it doesn't really matter what kind of yellow it can be. You don't have to do yellow. You can make, I've seen lots of cool ones too, where the eyes are like blue or green. So do whatever you want, but if you're doing yellow, just do that part first. So normally I would have already done the black, but we'll do that last. And because you need to wait normally for the black to dry, because it will bleed all over the place. So next one. So I've already got a little bit of yellow on there, but that's okay. So do that again, same thing. So now you're gonna let that dry. Oh, and I've already taped my paper down. If you want to tape it down just because it will warp sometimes. So if you tape it, then it stays in place. All right. Next, let's do the nose. So I'm going to look at the pink part. I'm going to get that wet. So then basically wherever you put the water, when you drop your paint down, it's only going to go there. So that's called wet on wet. So you getting it wet and then putting your paint down. Usually for my first layers, I always do that. So you can either mix colors, you can use any colors you've got. It doesn't, honestly, it doesn't matter what colors you use. But I always do the face in more the real colors, and then if I'm doing it colorful for the rest of it, then I'll do like whatever colors for that. We'll go to that part after. So I'm doing like, I just mixed like some orangey pink kind of color. So just keep dabbing it in, I guess, until you are happy with that. And the first layer is super rough. Like it always looks not nice. Doesn't really matter. So just get your base colors down. You just want to see where you're putting everything, basically. So don't worry if it's looking not nice. That's just how it always is. All right. So usually I would finish the face before I do the rest, but because I'm doing, we need to let that dry. So we're gonna do, I'm thinking for the orangest part of the tiger, I'm going to do some warmer colors. So first I'm just gonna go in and start wetting where I'm gonna do, so if you're looking at the reference photo, just wet where the orange is. And it's just damp, you don't need to soak it. So we'll do that. So you don't want to touch the nose where the paint is. Leave that spot there, because otherwise the pink's going to run, which doesn't really matter because the color is not that far off. All right. Right into under the eye. So again, it doesn't have to be perfect, just like a rough idea. It doesn't really matter. Nothing really matters, ever. Do what you want. Okay, I'm going to skip the top part for now, just do that. So I'm going to start with an orangey kind of color. So you just want to know your values. So if something looks like it's a darker, shadowy part, you're going to darken that part up later. But first, just start putting color down. This can be any color. You guys don't have to do the exact colors I'm doing, but if you want to, because you're new or just learning, any kind of orange or whatever. So I'm just putting it in some of the lighter areas, the parts that look a little bit lighter. Sometimes if you like squint at it, it looks different, so you can kind of see which parts to do different shades. So the other thing, when you're putting your next color down, you have to be careful, because orange is one of the colors that if you mix it with like green, it's gonna be a mess. All right. I'm gonna do yellow. So again, choose just any yellow. You can mix colors, do whatever. So the yellow and the orange can go together. So you're gonna let it touch. And don't do it too dark, but then get it, oh, this is just what I do, but I get it wet and then blend it together. So you want to have, always use a lot of water. Less paint, more water, especially, well, for the first layers anyways. All right. And then over here we'll do a bit of yellow. And then on the other side a little bit. So I'm going to put in a little bit more of the orange as well, just to blend it back in with the yellow. Don't mind my dogs barking. Okay. Now I'm going to, so with yellow, you want to pick another color that can blend with yellow. So I'm going to do green. You could also do pink or any of those, but I'm going to do most people have their colors ready. I don't know why, but I just always do it as I go. I always have an idea in my head of what I want it to look like, and then I just do it as I go. But most people get like all their colors planned out, so you can do that first on a little scrap piece of paper. Choose which colors you kind of want to have and get them ready. It's probably a lot easier that way. All right, so this is just going down. And this is a liquid watercolor, so it dries faster than my other one. So I'm gonna wet it and just blend that in before it dries. So that there is all on that side. Okay, now on this side, do a little bit in here. So you can see I'm going like over the stripes. That doesn't matter because the darker colors are going to be the stripes. So you can go over them later. But don't go too dark. If you can avoid it, obviously try to, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So when I do my colors, I just think of like warm colors and cool colors. So for the orange or tan type things, I always just in my head instantly I see certain colors like pinks, brighter pinks, yellows, oranges, bright greens, and then the darker colors, so like the black stripes, I instantly see like purple, dark colors like blues, purple, and then I'll still go over it with black as well for the contrast. But now that that lower part is done, bring it up. So just bring your wet, sorry if I'm not explaining good, I've never really explained what I'm doing. Just bring out the wet into the top part that we need. Again, with whatever colors. So I'm doing these 3, yellow, green, orange, for all of the orange part. You can do all orange. If you guys want to do it not the colorful way, if you want it, I mean, that was why I did this tutorial, was because I think most people wanted to know how to do the colorful way. But if you don't want to do that, you can still paint it, just copy exactly basically what the colors are that are there. So just choosing any, just make them blend together. So I'm doing my yellow on one side. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just always, there's no right way. You can do this, I could redo this a completely different way and it would still be fine. Like there's no right or wrong way, or which, that's a thing a lot of people ask. It's like, how do you know what colors to put where? You don't, you just do whatever you want. You don't have to do it a certain way. So I've just looked too as well, like if I've got a lot of green in one spot, then I'll just try to even it out, I guess. Like I think I've got a lot of green on this side, so let's put a little bit up here. Bring in more yellow. So I can't even really tell where the stripes are right now. So later we'll figure that out. But I have an idea. So I think that's that white chunk, and then that's a black stripe. So going up here and with the green, I really like how the bright greens look. It's like glowing. All right, last bit up here. So if you feel like you've got if it's too dark, you just rinse your brush. I'm always rinsing my brush because you want more water, no color. So rinse your brush and just use just a wet brush, no paint, when you need to bring the color out. So sometimes I'll get my brush wet, dab it in the paint, and then put it on the paper, and then rinse it, and then just pull it out. I don't know if that makes sense. Hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about. Okay. So that looks like we've got, I think, most of the spots there that were orange on the original picture. Let's do a little bit of orange. Okay. So I'm just looking at only the top half of my picture right now. So I'm just gonna do the ears now. So I want that to be some orange up there. So I'm gonna do it a little bit darker. Rinse your brush, bring it out. So see what I mean? Like you want the different shades. I don't even know how to explain, but darker and then bring it out so that it's looks watercolory. I'm gonna add some yellow in with the orange. Okay, I think that is pretty much it for that ear. And I'm gonna do the other ear, I think. I don't know, I'm gonna do the other ear the same, I think. For the first layer, anyways. So bring out the orange. And then I'm gonna put just a tiny bit of the green coming out. So normally green and orange don't really, you can't really put them beside each other, but this green is really bright. So it depends, again, that's I think why most people test their colors before. I feel like I kind of just know which ones to not put together. But if you need to test them out, do that first. All right, so now scroll down on your picture and the bottom half, just wherever the orange is. Let's go in with the same colors. Do some yellow. And a little bit of the orange down here. So you just have to play around and you'll feel like what I mean when I'm saying like pull the water, pull the color down. And if you need to take color away, just wet your brush, pull it. That's just lifting the color out of it. All right, so that looks good. I'm gonna go up with the orange. There's not much orange, and I do want to leave white. That's the one thing I don't do enough, is leaving more white. You can always add more color if you need to. So just wetting, bringing it out. And then I'm gonna put a little bit of yellow there. That's really light there. Bring some green out. All right. I think it's almost all of it. Okay, I hope this is easy for you guys to follow. I really don't know how to teach people. So far, that is what we've got. So now you're gonna let that dry. That's the hardest thing with watercolor is you have to be patient. You have to let it dry. If you rush it, you're just gonna mess it all up. So if I kept going right now, adding in other colors, it's just gonna make everything run. Like if you tried to do the stripes right now, so you definitely want to leave that. So the eyes will be dry now. So I'll go in for my second layer. So look at the eyes and just see what colors you see. I'm gonna add a green in there. So what I do is I put the color on the picture is more yellowy, but I want it to be like a bright green. So you can use whatever kind of shade you like. But I go over the whole area that I've already painted that's dry. This is not the same green. Okay. This is just what I do. You don't have to do it like this. For anyone that already knows how to paint, this is just how I like to do it. So I do the whole thing, but because this is still wet, I can pull it back. So wet your brush and then just lift it on usually the bottom, whatever part looks like it's still yellow, pull it out. And it's just, it won't look right until you have the black. That's why I like to do my black first. But pull that back. Just keep getting it wet and using a tissue to wipe it back. So there's usually a lot of colors in the eyes. So we can add like a brown, dab it in. Where it's already wet, it's just gonna all blend together and it'll look really cool after. All right. So we're gonna let that dry again. So we'll be back. All right. I was just looking as well. You guys can see like the eyes look messed up. It doesn't matter. It'll come together when you do the black and the white highlights as well. So I'm gonna keep going with the eyes. I'm gonna put a little bit more of the brown. That's too much paint. So just rinse that. I'm gonna put some browns in mine. And do more of a darker, almost like a brownie kind of green. So I'm just mixing my colors on the side here. So I just kind of mix them as I go. Like if I just putting some brown with some green, I'm gonna bring that in. And like the colors don't really matter. They can be anything. Sometimes I don't even know what color's on my brush. I just go with it. So you want the top to be darker. So just really look at your reference photo and see where the darker parts are. And just keep blending it. So I'm just using my wet brush again, just to make sure there's no lines. And I'm gonna bring in some yellow on that again, because when I lifted it out, a little bit came out. All right, and then same with the other one, that brownie green. And just make sure that it's wet, and it will just kind of, do you see that? Like it's just doing its own thing. And then rinse, and then just kind of blend that back in. And then again with the yellow. And then all those colors will kind of just do whatever, their own thing. Okay, so we're gonna leave it with that for the eyes for now. I'm gonna go back to the nose and do the next layer. So I want it to be like an orange, pinky orange. So I'm just mixing on the side again to get the color I want. So you guys don't have to mix if you don't want. You can use whatever. If you just have like a little palette with colors, you can just go straight from that. You don't have to mix. You can use any colors you want. So I'm going in again with the whole nose. I just realized watching it, I should probably be using a bigger brush, but I don't know why I always use this brush. I just love it. All right. And then if you see any highlights, like if anything looks like it's lighter on the photo, just do that again with the lifting out the color. That's how it ends up looking like coming off the page. But this is still just the first layer, so there's not much to take out right now. All right, next I'm gonna erase a little bit more because this part's the white and I don't want the pencil to show. Oh, we can do the mouth. So for the white, I'll take like a gray, some kind of gray. It can be anything. It doesn't have to be even a real, I'm just mixing whatever's on my palette right now. Honestly, like, I have no idea what's here. It's just anything you want. And then get it really wet. You want it, this is just gonna be like shadows. So you want it light. So now I'm doing where the white parts are in between, that's too much. Where the fur, the white fur is, this will just make it stand out more. So just put this where the darker parts are. Really, really light shadows. So not the black yet, not where the stripes are. This is just the white, in between the white. Some parts, so you're just looking at your shadows. If it looks like it's a tiny, even though it's white, it's not. You gotta look for the other colors in there. If there's shadows and stuff like that. Okay. Mostly this that we're doing right now is probably gonna be covered, but it'll be underneath there. It'll help make it look real. So again, like I'm kind of don't really know what's what. It doesn't matter. So this is that black stripe going up. That's a black stripe just there. So you just keep finding things that you know what they are to see where you are at. So this, I'm thinking I'm add a little bit of blue to it. So it's purpley blue, different. All right, this is under the chin. I'm gonna do this here to make it like a shadow. And then pink, blue, and purple are gonna be my stripe colors. So I'm gonna do the pink into the purple. Okay, so bring that out. So just keep looking back at your reference photo. Sorry. All right, I'm gonna get this bluey kind of color. So that's the other thing. I use colors I like. I don't like red, so I don't really use it. I don't use like dark blues much. I don't know. I use whatever I like. I'm not gonna paint colors if I don't really like them, unless someone asks for it. So a lot of people always, that's like the comment I get the most, is people love the colors I use. So that is my advice. Use colors you like. So I'm just following where the dark stripes are, and I'm just going to use those colors pretty much, different mixes of those colors. So like I'll use some different purples, different blues, but so see that'll be like a mixed purple. Okay. darker blue, but still nice. So that is that stripe in here somewhere. That doesn't look like a dark enough one, so we'll go back in later and make it darker. So when I get that in, after it's just barely drying, I'll just wet it, and because I want this to stay white, I'm just gonna bring that blue out really, really lightly so it goes into the white. And then that's when I'm gonna mix it, let it mix with the other colors as well. So that's gonna be another part of the stripe, I think. Do some purple and then we'll bring it out. Okay, so again, all right, back to the stripe. So I'm gonna bring the blue up. And then just blend that out a bit. Make it blend together with the purple a little bit more. I think that's a little more purple. And I'm gonna put a little bit of black over these so it doesn't really have to be perfect right now. So just keep looking at your photo, seeing where you want to put things. You don't have to do it just like mine, but if you want to, just keep checking your picture and seeing where I'm putting that. And again, I feel like the more colors you use, it can just look a little bit messy, or just like, I don't know. So how I tried to keep the orange to 3 colors and this stripes I'm gonna keep to about 3 types of colors anyways. It doesn't have to be the exact color. I'm gonna do, so I'll mix like blues and purples together to get different shades. It doesn't have to be just straight from the pan or anything. So this is gonna be that black that's on the ear. And I'm gonna do some blue in there. So that doesn't even look how it looks in the photo. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be exact. Like purple. So there's a stripe in there. And then a little bit of a black there. So that's purple, not black, if it looks black to you guys. I'm not using any black right now. Okay, and then the same on the other side. It doesn't have to be, I don't make them this exact same on both sides. I don't try to. Just use whatever you want. Okay. So see how there's like purple and pink on the brush right now? That's like what I love when it's just kind of like any color. It's not anything. So let them mix. As long as they're colors that can mix without getting gross and muddy looking, let them mix. So I'm gonna rinse that out and let it blend out just a bit. Just keep bringing in the water so it doesn't get too blue, too dark. And pulling back that water is going to keep that from going into the white spots. But I don't want it to be next, let's do, sorry, my sleeves are in my way, some stripes on the other side. All right, I'm gonna go here where I know there's one. So that goes down, over, and up. So I'm gonna bring in a blue to go with that. That's another stripe there. I'm gonna let it come out a little bit. Okay, let's do all pink. Okay. So I'm just constantly looking back at my photo to see where things are, and I'll jump around a lot. I don't stay in one area. But you can. I'm gonna just grab another glue, a little bit darker. And let's do that one here. That's not even much darker. I'm gonna mix some purple with a blue just to get it a little bit darker. Okay, that's that dark spot down there. So the whiskers are going across it, but you can see it was dark underneath. So I will go over with whiskers later. No, that's pretty dark. So I'm just gonna lighten it up a bit with some water. And I'm gonna bring that blue up because I think that's a dark spot. All right, let's come down to the bottom here. So I jump around a lot because you want to make sure that I'm gonna just go in and finish with some of the stripes that I noticed weren't fully done. So again, going in with the darker shade, rinse your brush, and then just wet it and then bring out the color. You don't have to do that, but that's just how I like to do them. So sorry it's taken so long to do this. My daughter has just gone back to school after 2 months. So now when my son is napping, right now, I can do this. But otherwise, there's always someone in the room with me. So I just haven't been able to sit and finish it. So finally, getting it done. And it was so close to being done last time as well. Let's do, so for the nose, I'm gonna do another shade in there. So just again, mixing my own kind of orangey, but you can use any color you want. So I'm gonna go over the whole thing because now it's been sitting for so long. And then I'm gonna lift out some of the color. So just have some kind of tissue or paper towel, wet your brush, and you can drag out some of the colors. So just maybe leave it a bit darker at the top. And I'm gonna do the chin a little bit. I'm gonna do some of the purple where the shadows are there already. Darken this up a little bit. And rinse your brush again. So I'm gonna do tiny little, I don't want it to bleed out everywhere, but I don't want it all white. I want a little bit of the shadow in there. So if you just drag it out. All right. So I'm gonna finish the eyes because they look creepy right now. So we've got our first couple layers in. I'm gonna go ahead and put the black in because then that can dry for a bit. So once you do the black, it basically makes it look right. So usually I use ink when I'm doing my blacks. I think I've already said that. And then you can also use some kind of pen or marker, anything like that, or you can just use paint. The only thing with the paint is if anything else is wet or touches it, it's gonna bleed everywhere. So that's sometimes why I just don't, because I'm impatient. So right now, just to show you, I'm gonna use just a black brush pen. So first I'm gonna do the middle of the eye. On both. So I've got my drawings a little weird with that one, so just keep always looking at your reference and make sure they line up. Like you can go back and make sure they're both in the same spot. So this needs just a shadow on top. So and then just a little bit of an outline. And then I usually do it with pen, and then at the very end when I'm done, I'll always go over it with more ink or paint just to make it darker and make sure that it's the final thing that's the darkest. So I love doing the eyes. It's my favorite when you actually finish them and then all of a sudden it's just looks like real eyes. So once you get the highlight in and the black in, it always makes the eyes pop. And then you actually feel like you're looking at an animal. So bring that out. More there. So this can be paint right now. I just trying to get it done before he wakes up. So I want to make sure that it's going to be dry enough to paint with. Finish it. So this looks like it's up too high, so I'm going to fix that later. And this as well looks like it's a bit out of shape. So you just always kind of fix things at the end if something's not right, but just do your best to get it. Should be. All right, so one there. And do the other one. So just always keep checking and making sure that they look even. So this one looks like it might be up a bit high, but I can fix that later with white. So you can pretty much usually fix fix a lot of things. So if something's not right, I can always come back and usually kind of fix it up a bit. Okay, sorry, my phone just ran out of memory again, so I am getting frustrated. All right, so the eyes look crazy right now, but I'm gonna fix that when the black is dry. I'll go over it with the white. So I'm gonna do the same with the nose. So we'll just do the very darkest parts. There's some shadows in there, so don't do all of it. So my phone is showing that I have 10 minutes before it is full again. So let's see how much we can get done. So I guess this is why I don't do videos. It is such a hassle. So I'll probably just do the main, get the most of it done so you guys kind of know what I do. This is crooked, but I think it's meant to be. And then you can kind of finish it on your own because I will never get it done if I keep stopping. So just all the way down into that fur. All right, let's get in a face. So see, you can tell the nose is like crooked. I think it's meant to be a little bit, but it looks too much. But again, I'll just fix it with any white. You can use either gouache or a white gel pen I use. Also, it kind of looks like it because the pink has gone out, so fix that as well. This one's more shadowed, so I'm gonna do all that. I'm gonna do these here, but make sure if you do another layer over top, make sure it's dry before you do that, or the ink will smear, even though I think they're meant to be waterproof. So you can see this one is too low and not in the right place, so I'm gonna fix that after. But I'm gonna make it up. It's gonna be bigger right now, and then I'll put white over it to make it, but this one looks right to me, so pretty much anyways. Okay. So at least he's got sort of a face now. What else? So I'm gonna do a little bit in the face there. I'm gonna do a little bit of like an orange because you can see it in the fur there underneath. Just a little bit. And then I'm gonna bring that out as well. And a really light, just in here a little tiny bit. Rinse, and you wouldn't even really notice it. Okay. So we still want that to look like it's white, so you don't want much. And then we'll do black over top anyways. Okay. So now we've got some black stripes in there. So I'm gonna do some pinks. I think it was this side that we missed. All right, so here, a little bit of purple. So this doesn't need to be perfect either. No one's gonna ever know if you've got your stripes not right. So do whatever. I'm gonna get a little bit of blue. And it's kind of like a purpley blue. I'm definitely gonna run out of time again because I'm already at 6 minutes. So I'm gonna continue on, finish my stripes. I'm doing the same thing. And then when I'm at the end, I will record again for you guys how to finish it. So I'm just I'll leave the eyes and the nose. I'll finish with my stripes, doing more layering, and then we'll go back and video for the end so that you guys can see. But if I don't get this done, I'm never gonna do it. So I think you guys would rather miss a little bit of the painting and actually have a video to kind of follow. So let's do that. So I kind of go all over the place. Like I'll start in one and then I'll see something that jumps out at me that I need to fix and fix that. But you can obviously stay in one area, finish what you need to do. So all we're gonna do now is see all the stripes that are left. I'm going in with my darker coloring. So the darker purples, darker pinks, and keeping it a little bit thicker. And then I'll wet my brush and bring it out again. But just keep going through and doing the areas that you see stripes. And then, so I'll just do that again. So just still wet it, bring it out just a little bit, just so that it blends instead of being really hard lines. So see when you wet it, and then keep wiping it away to make it as light as you want to have it. But I'm going to finish up without recording, and then I will come back and finish it off for you guys. All right, ready to finish it. So it's pretty much done. Just kind of have a look and see between your reference and the painting what you think needs to be changed. I think mine's pretty much good, except for where I want to bring out some more of the white. So I know a lot of people don't know how to, well, not that you don't know how to, but for me, if I've gone too dark or put too much, I'll go in with white gouache, and it's kind of like gives it the feel of like acrylic, like it can go over, and you can also use it to make other colors but a little bit thicker. So you don't have to do this. This is just what I do if I want to bring back more white into my painting. So just some of the whiter areas I'm just going to go in and use it. So this is what I do for like highlights. Sometimes I do whiskers and stuff like that with it. So you mix it with water, and you can do it as runny or thick as you want. So if you don't have this, you don't need to do this. I just like to go in and brighten it up a bit sometimes. So I'm just gonna keep looking back at my reference, any spots that I think I want to have a bit whiter. And you don't have to use white, you can use You can mix it with colors too, and it'll make like a lighter kind of shade of pinks or whatever. So see the difference between the two sides, just a bit of a difference. So obviously you're meant to try to not cover your whites that you want to keep white, but sometimes I just go a little crazy with the color. So after the white, we'll do the splatters, and then I'm gonna stop the video and just like, if there's anything I need to fix up, and same for you guys, just go back in and fix up anything that you need adjusting with, and hopefully I will have it edited and up soon. So sorry that this has taken me so long to get done. Finally have enough memory on my phone. Daughter is at school, little guy is napping, and had a little bit of time before I go pick up my daughter. You can also, I use white gel pens sometimes for white. They work really good. They go over like anything, but obviously not for wider parts. So just the hair and the ears, you can put as much detail as you want. I usually don't do like lots of detail. I don't try to make my paintings super realistic. I like them to be a little bit, but I don't try to like copy a photograph exactly. I just don't see the point in trying to paint something that can just be printed off, but that's just my preference. You know, some people like that. So a bit under the eyes, very white. So that's what I was saying in the beginning about like in the end I'll fix things. I just mean with the gouache I'll go back in and lighten things up if I went too dark or that kind of stuff. So I know some people like to just use strictly watercolor, but I use watercolor ink, sometimes even colored pencils. Up to you. If you want to keep it only watercolor, go for it and don't do this part. But this is a water paint as well, so it's sort of like a watercolor. Gouache is similar, I guess. Alright, so just a bit more in here. And then also after we do the white, I'd go back in and any darks that need to be darkened up a bit. You can use a skinnier brush and do like actual hair strokes, but I don't usually do really like that. It's so hard to do a video when this camera's in my face while I'm painting. So to me, like that looks so much better when you put the white in, but again, that's just a preference. When you have the highlights. And then when we go over, the whiskers will cover over some of the mouth. So I always do that very, very last, because then once they're on, you can't really go back over it. And again, I'm sort of looking where the lines are, but obviously I don't really know exactly where they're meant to be, so the stripes, I mean. So just do kind of your best to follow the photo. No one will ever know any different, doesn't matter. So again, you could have done this on any colors, any shades, like you don't have to be dark or light. You can do that however you want it, but try to remember just like your values. So the parts that are lighter need to be lighter shades, and then the darker parts you want darker. And then if you do that, they can be any colors. This whole picture could have been just the regular colors, could have done it with only purple, only blue, just as long as you're doing your values and making sure that they're different, it will still look right. Right. All right. Almost done with the white. And we'll do the splatters so that's done with. So, in there. So I'll probably fix some of this up more when I'm letting that dry. So waiting in between and letting things dry is the most important. If you try to do too much when it's still wet, you just end up with a mess. So just, you have to be patient, which is hard. All right, I think I'm gonna leave it there. All right, so just go back in, fix up your eyes, your nose, whatever you think needs to be adjusted or blended. I'm gonna go back in later and blend out more, a little bit of some black with the white, but let's do our splatters, because I know some people have asked how to do them. So for me, I've used a bunch of different brushes. If it's a pointier brush, it doesn't work as well. It just ends up really small. I like bigger splashes, so I use this one. So you can use however big or small you want. If I have a huge painting, I'll use like bigger ones. But these ones work the best, I think, for what I like my splatters to be like. So I do my splatters, when it's a colorful painting, I don't usually go too much with the back anymore. I just do like a few drops. So I'll do some pink. So make sure you have a lot of water so it's not so dark. And then I just throw it. Not very technical. So if it gets on them, that's fine. I just wipe it off while it's still wet. But try your best, obviously, not to get it on it. So I'm only gonna do a little bit. So that one, and it's okay if they blend as long as they're colors that can blend. So you don't wanna have like a green mixed with those. It will look gross. So I'm gonna do a little bit of the tealy type. Sorry. And then when those splashes dry, you can go back over if you like to layer them, which I think usually looks really cool. So I try to kind of leave a little bit of white spots and put the splashes each in like together. So all those colors are fine to mix, but once I'm wanting to use orange, yellow, then it gets a little trickier. So I think I'm gonna leave it almost with that. See how it's mixing and it's not nice. All right, so just see a few little things, just dab it. Get any parts that are not there. dab that and it'll come back out. All right, so I think that's pretty much it, but I'll go back in and fix some details, but that's for the most part the tiger. So I hope you guys got something out of this and enjoy.